Hey, hold on. Hold on. Bag up. Bag up, Terry. Put in reverse, Terry. Put in reverse. Oh, Lord, jeez. What you doing, Terry?
Merry Christmas, Sooner fans. It's the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
And we are in the Podcast Palace on New Year's Eve, which you'll be listening to this on New Year's Eve. And remember that we
are not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma,
but we do have eligibility left. If you're listening to us wherever you're at, especially on YouTube, we've got a lot of people listening to us on YouTube nowadays. Make sure and subscribe on YouTube and watch for our videos that come out Thursday night at Louis on Campus Corner. And also make sure and listen to us if you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, Google Play, or any other platform, make sure and subscribe as well. Make sure and check out tailgateconnect.com. Dan Donnelly, the California Sooner fan, who has a great website that can hook you up with all the great tailgates across the country, www.tailgateconnect.com. In the same realm, Dave Lamb, another California Sooner fan, has an app called Team Bar Finder.
www.teambarfinder.com.
You can get it on the Apple Store or Google Play, or by going to, again, Rob,
www.teambarfinder.com,
and find your team's nearest watch party at a local bar near you. With the season pretty much being over, except for 2 more games left for the Sooners, right, Rob?
Right.
You can check out where the fans in your community will be watching the Oklahoma game this weekend.
If I was out of town, I definitely would do that.
Yes. And also, if you want to learn about football, go check out JY's website. Join up. It's the trenchwarfarereport.com, www.trenchwarfarereport.com. Learn about football from one of the best analysts out there, breaking down games for fans so they can see what's going on in the trenches.
It's good stuff. You won't be sorry.
So, Rob, let's see, since Thursday night, what has happened?
Went to see Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars.
How was that?
It was pretty good, but I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so.
Caleb went and saw it with him and his sister and her husband. They have a little, when we go down to McAllister for the family Thanksgiving. And for y'all that don't know it, Rob has a problem with microphone stands, and he breaks it about every other show.
Well, they just don't make them like they used to, Terry.
I guess not. Nobody else breaks, though, Rob.
That's okay. I'm a star. I can just hold it.
So, microphone stand broke again. But like I said, Caleb and
I blame Terry
and Megan and Greg always go to a movie the weekend that we go down to McAllister for the family Christmas and my mother's birthday, and so they went and saw it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. It's long. I do not recommend the 4DX, especially for pregnant women or people with bad backs.
Or pregnant men.
Or pregnant men.
Yeah. The 4DX. Explain to everybody what the 4DX is, Rob.
So you're on a bank of 4 seats, all right, and all 4 of them move. So the moving thing is in the middle of the 4 seats. So if you're out on the ends, you're moving all the time. Of course, I was in the middle, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be one long movie, because every time a ship took off, landed, somebody jumped or fell down, we were just moving all over the place. Plus, there's stuff in the seats. So like, if somebody gets shot, then there's things in the back of your seat where you feel it, And then there's stuff that move and hit you in the calf. I'm like, what is going on down there? And then I realized I got stuff hitting you down there. And then, and in your headrest, which they're not real comfortable seats, I'm just going to be honest with you. But in the headrest, there's air, and it's just like right into your ear and on your back of your neck and stuff. You're like, oh. And then in the front seat, they got smells that come out and misters. And then the walls, not that kind of mister.
Yeah.
But the walls have like lights and stuff on them. So like when there's in this particular movie, when there's a blaster war going on. People shooting back and forth. Those lights are going off and stuff. So it's quite the experience. And
not something you'd go want to watch a porno to either, huh?
Oh my God, no, probably would not want to do that. I can't even imagine. But
yeah,
I'm sure there are people that do it.
Yeah, but no, that seems more like an amusement park ride. That's what they have at like Universal Studios and stuff.
It kind of is like that. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think I would enjoy spending my hard-earned money already paying too much to go see a movie and get slapped all around and stuff blown in your face and everything.
Yeah, and well, it was my son's birthday, so I took him and his girlfriend, and then my other 2 sons. So there was 5 of us, and it was $118.
Holy cow.
Right? But
did you get any popcorn? Because that'd have been another $118.
No, we did dinner right before that. So that was, another $70. That's okay though. It's his day, and I try to make it special. But
yeah, well, we went down to McAllister and did our annual Christmas and my mom's birthday dinner.
And how was Mama Long?
Oh, she's fantastic. Feisty as always. She come to dinner dressed in her OU semifinal playoff shirt and her OU shoes.
Well, of course she did.
And we went to a place called Giacomo's down in McAllister, which if any folks are familiar with Italian restaurants in this part of the country, Giacomo's is one of the best.
And you brought me some back, right?
Nope, ate every bit of it.
Alrighty.
But they serve everything
I thought we were friends.
Family style. So we ordered, because we bought my mom's and I bought Caleb's, so we ordered the steak for 4, which is a giant plate of steaks. Mm-hmm. Okay, but before they bring out your steak, they bring out a table's worth of cheese tray, salad, breadsticks or garlic bread, and then they bring out a big, a family style for the whole table, spaghetti, raviolis, and meatballs, and then they bring out your steak. So
sounds like a good meal.
Yeah, and then of course my 83-year-old mother was hungry still the next day after church and wanted to go to lunch with us, so we went and ate some Cajun food for lunch. So I'm still stuffed today. I can't hardly even move. Plus my sister makes fudge, for the family Christmas gathering fudge. And
is it good? Because I'm not a big fan of fudge.
Yeah, fudge, and she makes Caleb calls it crack. It's actually saltine crackers with like caramel and chocolate covered saltine crackers. It's actually pretty good. But yeah, so I'm still aching from that.
Wow.
But
hey, I will say this about that movie though. Ray is really hot. But I couldn't help but noticing that every scene that she's in, I'm like, man, she has got perfect teeth. You're gonna be watching that now, aren't you? If you ever see it, you're gonna be like, man, Rob was right.
I thought you were going to say something else, but you were fascinated with her teeth. Is that?
Well, it certainly was in my mind that, man, she has got like perfectly straight and white and perfect teeth.
Perfect teeth.
She must not drink coffee at all.
And guess what else came today, Rob?
What?
Forgot to tell you about this. We got a package, and it had some saltwater taffy in it.
Yeah.
Guess who that would have come from?
Saltwater taffy. Who would that come from? I have no idea.
Really? Bill?
Yeah.
South Jersey. Remember he sent us some?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know he sent us some cakes or something.
Yeah, but he sent taffy last year.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. So here's a little.
Are they famous for that up there in Jersey? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think on the board with the Jersey Boardwalk up there. Never been.
Never been either.
But there's some saltwater taffy, so you can, if you want some when you leave. It was addressed to me, not you. Didn't say.
Oh, he doesn't love me.
Yeah.
I see how it is. They're
and a
South Jersey Bill.
And a Christmas card.
Wow.
See, so
You're just not loved. Not loved.
But Bill, thank you for the taffy, especially Teresa.
Or no, thank you, depending on which
Teresa loves taffy. I like taffy, so she's really happy. And just so you know, she confiscated it. I don't even know where it's at. She probably hid it somewhere in the kitchen.
It tastes good, but then there's the whole digging it out of your teeth and, out of your hair and wherever else you get it.
Yeah, but also while you guys are, we are going to have a guest on. Johnny Johns is going to be on, a Sooner fan, and also the drummer for the Van Halen tribute band Next Halen.
Might as well jump.
So he'll be here in just a little bit and on the podcast with us. Anything, the Sooners arrived today, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to check out anything with them arriving in Hotlanta?
I didn't, but I will. I'll start off with this. During our Thursday night at Louis, we talked a little bit about recruiting, but there was a whole lot of stuff going on there that we did not talk about that I think deserves some attention. And first things first is that the O-line apparently is heavily underrated. Like, everybody expects this O-line to be the number one O-line in the nation in the coming years. Like, we got a bunch of good kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all 4-star, all huge.
Yeah,
I mean, they're massive.
And according to some of the smarter people than me, Kerry Murdoch and some of those guys, some of them could play right now.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing because we're going to lose Creed probably.
Yeah.
But that's not a done deal because if he's not first round, they're saying that he's talking about staying. If he's done, so as a center, he may not go first round. So.
I think with Creed, it may end up being, and there's no inside sources, don't have any inside sources, but he's an Oklahoma kid.
Oh, yeah.
Just down the road from Shawnee, playing at Oklahoma. I think it depends on what happens these next 2 games. You know what I mean?
You're probably right. Right.
He came to Oklahoma in a time when Oklahoma is really on that verge of winning big, and it may be. You know what? I think he's graduated already.
Is he?
Yeah, or maybe he's not. Maybe I don't think he has now that I think, but there's a chance. I think he might come back.
I think there's an outside chance.
But you're right. This offensive line is going to come in and start pushing the offensive line that we have, and I think most of them. I'd have to look at our notes from the other night, which let me reach across the table.
While you're grabbing those, the receiver, I'm not sure his first name, but his last name is Mims, I think. He was the all-time leading high school Texas receiver ever.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know why we didn't talk about that more, but apparently the kid is really good, which why would he come here when we are so loaded with receivers? I mean, I know why he would come here, obviously, because, everybody expects Spencer Rattler to go really big.
Yeah.
But the backs, we lost, what was the name, Jace McClellan or something like that, to Alabama. And we've got another kid already signed. He's more of a...
Seth McGowan.
Yeah. Okay, that's him. Yeah. Apparently, he's more of a Samaje Perine type back, or even a Trey Sermon type back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to break an 80-yarder on you, but he's going to break. He's going to get 15, and he's going to punish the corner or the safety, whoever's coming up to try and tackle him. So
he's 6 foot, 215 pounds, rushed for more than 3,700 yards and 45 touchdowns in his high school career. Had offers from Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Texas.
They say he is all there.
Yeah.
Like he is one solid specimen of a man. But
yeah. The offensive line, 1, 2, 3 of the 5 signees will be here in January.
Nice.
So,
well, also the
can
kid,
you just think about that too? I mean, foregoing your second semester of high school, graduating early so you can come and play football. That's crazy.
No, no, I'm okay with it.
No, I am too. I just think I don't know if I could have done that, but that's just me. I'm not a smart guy. So,
well, you definitely will have more fun in college than you ever would in high school. But,
this is true.
But since we lost the McClellan kid, apparently another kid that has been on our radar that we have not offered, but sources are saying that we might offer him now. Yeah, is the fastest kid coming out of LSU, and he's interested in Oklahoma. So that'd be a nice 1-2 punch. Speedster. Apparently he's a 440 champion in LSU, in Louisiana. Yeah. So that'd be a nice pickup if we could get him too. So.
Yeah, Marvin Mims was the receiver that you were talking about.
Marvin Mims.
Texas State High School, receiving yards 5,485, and in a single season 2,629 with 32 touchdowns and on 117 catches. That's as a senior.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Why don't we go after this quarterback, too? Because, woo. Well, I guess we're pretty stacked at the quarterback spot, aren't we?
Yeah. But out of the, I'm trying to think here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Looks like 11 of the signees will be here in January.
Wow.
Yeah. So, plus, like we said, the number 1 and number 2 JUCO defensive linemen.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
And they were also talking about those kids. And one of them, the one with the cool name, what's his name? Montreal Revis or something like that.
There's Joshua Ellison and Perion Winfrey.
That's the one, Perion Winfrey.
What you call it, Montreal?
I don't know. But anyway, they said if he was here now, he would start.
Yeah.
That's how good he is. So
6'4", 306 pounds.
I'm excited for him to get here.
Had 55 tackles, 23 tackles for loss, and 9.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble in his 2 seasons at Iowa Western. He was also offered by Alabama, Baylor, LSU, and Texas. So it's not like these guys, other schools didn't want them. But yeah, it's a really good. I know it's not that highly ranked, but it's not done yet. I think they still got like 9 or 10 kids that they can sign, and there's still a lot of guys out there. I mean, I can't think the kid's name now. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. Grimes, I think.
No, they were talking about him too. Like we got him already.
He's committed. He just didn't sign.
Oh, okay,
he's going to sign in February. And he put out the deal, that he was still committed. There's no changes.
Oh, I heard the backstory. Do you want to hear what I heard?
What'd you hear?
And this is from Kerry Murdoch and those guys. That they wanted grandparents to be at his signing, and the grandparents could not be at the early signing day.
Gotcha.
So they're waiting on the grandparents to come in so that he can.
That's cool.
Done. Of course, if you're any other school in the nation, you're like, hey, by the way, since you haven't committed totally yet, why don't you come to check us out? I'm sure people are still after him, don't you?
Oh yeah, but yeah. So I mean, I think the class is going to get stronger. I think most people are saying at times it'll be a top 10 inside. 7, 6 somewhere in there. Very good possibility. But that's where we need to stay in that top 10, top 5. But next year Oklahoma is already projected to be one of the number 1 or 2 classes.
Yeah, because we're getting the number 1 recruit in the nation. Right? So,
yep. Vandergriff is going to be here. So
excited about that too.
On a little bit of pro notes here real quick. We're pretty much done with pro football. My Steelers are out.
Are they?
Yeah. And I believe your Cowboys are out now.
Are they? I don't.
They got beat by the Eagles yesterday.
I heard they lost by. Yeah, got beat by the Eagles.
Did you hear what happened to their plane?
No.
It was deemed unfit to fly back, so they had to get another plane.
Wow. They certainly got the money to do it, I guess.
Yep. So, and so that, all the rumors started flying around after that loss of Lincoln Riley and so on and so forth. And Lincoln kind of answered those, said, I got a pretty good deal here. Not much reason to go anywhere else.
I can't imagine why he would leave here to go to Dallas.
No. But, people quit talking about Lincoln, going to Dallas, and because it's just not going to happen.
Maybe Nick Saban will go to Dallas.
Yeah. Couldn't you see him and Jerry Jones in the same room?
Oh, man.
Jiminy Christmas. That would be. Oh, and I just said Jiminy Christmas. My prayers. We need to go out for Merv Johnson. Report came out that he was involved in a pretty bad car accident on I-35. He sustained injuries, but he's in good condition. So a couple of the media outlets tweeted that out right before I left work. So
I see him every day.
Really?
Yep.
Does he call you Big Rob, or
no?
Does he even know your name?
No.
No.
Well. But he, I guess he's volunteered to deliver mail.
Yeah.
So being in the stadium, he comes in every day. I'm like, hey, Coach, what's going on? And he's like, brought you some mail. And he's gone. So, yeah.
Well, he should know your name since he delivers your mail.
Well, he probably does because it's all addressed to me. But I really want to just say, hey, pull up a chair. Let's talk.
Yeah. Have you ever tried it?
No. I feel like that would be disrespectful. So maybe not, but I really would like him to
take him to lunch.
Yeah, hey,
Coach, let me take you to lunch.
Let's talk just for a minute. He's what, 50 years, man. He's been
he's been up there. Yeah. God. Coached in the glory days and in the bad days and even in the good days. So
yeah. And I was rubbing elbows with some of the uppities the other day, and I was trying to pull information about what's going on with our guys, and they weren't giving. I don't know if they knew or didn't, but I said, man, it's it's a shame that we got this kind of going on right now. And he's like, yeah, that was kind of it. And I was like, come on,
say something, say something.
No,
but we'll get into more than that when Johnny gets in here, and because he's coming over to the podcast palace, not going to be on the phone, and what are they? They're showing football players chugging beers at basketball games.
Sissy.
Yeah. I can't chug beer like I used to.
Yeah.
I can't drink beer like I used to.
Me either.
Saying that, well, let's go ahead and shut it off here. Well, not shut it off. Don't turn off the podcast. Don't turn off the podcast.
We got more brilliance coming up.
We got more brilliance. We're just going to get Johnny Johns in here. All right, Sooner fans, right here inside the podcast palace with us, all the way from almost Tecumseh, between Tecumseh and Norman. He's the drummer for the Van Halen tribute band. If you haven't seen them, I have seen them. Caleb has too. He doesn't remember it though.
We're going to see him New Year's, right?
And we're going to see him New Year's.
A lot of people don't remember our shows.
But we got Sooner fan Johnny Johns. Boomer Johnny.
Hey, Boomer guys.
How's it going?
Man, nice to be here.
First off, let's promo your band a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Next Halen, how it all came about. How old are you, by the way? I didn't even ask you that.
I'm 31 years young.
Okay, so you're still a young. How did you become part of a at 31? Become part of a Van Halen tribute band?
It's really funny. Around the same time I become a huge Sooner fan.
Yeah.
It's also the exact same time I become a huge OU fan. We were living in Norman, off of I-35, and we were pretty much we were hanging out watching the new coach Bob Stoops at the time in '99. We were watching. This was during football season, and I remember. My dad had this cool little place off I-35 with his drummer. It was kind of just their, bachelor pad.
Right.
And they threw a lot of cool parties, OU parties and stuff. But one day we were bored, and me and my brother, who also plays in the band, he's the Michael Anthony. We were like, man, who is this band? This isn't Kiss? Oh, well, we don't want to watch it, 'cause we loved the band Kiss when we were kids,
Right.
And anyways, they play it. We don't know who they are. Well, they put it was a VHS tape, of course, back then. And we know every song on there. We just didn't know we knew Van Halen. Right. A lot of people are like that, too. But we had heard this band on the radio, thought they were a cool band, but never knew who this band was. And so anyway, several years later, I had heard, of a Van Halen tribute band kind of going around, and I'd wanted to put a cool tribute band together and stuff. And pretty much we've been the young guys that's always liked music. Everybody liked the older music. Everybody in Next Halen is in their 20s and 30s, except for our singer. And we always say, he's 17, but he looks the youngest in the band.
Yeah, but he's kind of like me. I look like the youngest out of all of us.
Oh, yeah, out of all three of us, right? But, yeah, he's a tiny bit older than us.
Yeah.
He was more the Jamel Holloway days,
Gotcha.
We were in high school during the Josh Heupel days. He was in high school in, Brian Bosworth days.
Gotcha.
Just our age.
So you know how old he is, yeah.
Yep. So now I've seen, on your Facebook page, you guys play everywhere. You've played out in California. where'd you play out in California? Was it the Whiskey?
Yeah, we played in Hollywood at the Whiskey a Go-Go.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
That's big time right there.
That is big time.
It didn't. It really still doesn't seem real when I watch that, honestly, because all of my, a lot of people that I idolized as a kid played there, and Motley Crue and Van Halen and Kiss and Poison, and then you got a couple dudes you graduated at Tecumseh High School, also played there.
Nice. Hey,
Doesn't make sense.
you're just naming off a bunch of my favorite bands right there.
Nice.
What's another one of your favorite bands, Rob?
Which one? Van Halen, Led Zeppelin?
No. One.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Listen, I was a fan of all music, Terry, so you just shut your mouth. You just shut your mouth.
Rob was a fan of Wham for a little while.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Duran Duran, Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, I went through that whole, fluorescent shoelaces and whatnot. I did. Breakdancing, you betcha, boy.
Beastie Boys.
We don't even want to talk about what Van Halen wore back in the day.
Listen, I couldn't I'm from a small farming community. If I'd have wore that stuff, I'd have been run out of town.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, though.
But I know we're going to talk about Sooner football, but I'm also a big, Rob knows that I'm a big music fan.
Oh, yeah.
So I always got to talk music when I'm talking with guys.
Yeah.
Van Halen. Now I know you guys play music from both eras.
We mostly do the classic
Right.
Van Halen, but we do both whenever.
Right.
So the Hagar or the...
We do when a venue will ask for it, we kind of offer it. Like we do a show called Best of Both Worlds where we'll come out and we'll play. I know it's weird, it's backwards, but we'll come out and we'll play like the Van Hagar era, and our singer will even dress up like Sammy and we dress a little different, and then we'll take a break and then we'll come back and just finish it with the classic Van Halen.
So I have a question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't cut you off there.
No, you're good.
All right. So when Terry and I come to see you,
Uh-huh.
can we come in like 80s?
Oh, hell yes, y'all can. Yes.
I'm going to get a wig.
Absolutely.
I'm not even kidding.
He needs one. I mean,
I'm gonna
so do
rip
I.
up- yeah. I'm going to rip up some jeans. And
Yeah. Well, I tell people, my buddy Mike, who plays in Fever Tree, you met him at the tailgate when you guys were there, but he's letting his hair grow back out because he's playing again and this band's doing real good. And I was like, well, I'm not going to let mine grow out because I don't want to look like Klaus Meine, from the Scorpions or from or Gallagher, because that's what I'd look like. I got the bald top and got hair.
bald is sexy. I mean, not to me, but
Yeah.
But
probably not really to anybody else. But
There is some chicks that'll dig it.
there's like two.
dude,
They live
If
in
it
Maine.
makes you guys,
and he's still looking for him, right?
hey, if it makes you feel better, me and Dan Halen probably have a few extra wigs y'all can wear.
What?
We
Dude, I am all in on this.
there's only one of us in the band that has real hair.
Which one is that?
That would be Drew. That'd
Drew.
be the guitar, the one that plays as Eddie.
Okay.
But me and Dan, we both, we have Baker Mayfield haircuts. And it's funny how many people, they'll be there like after we've already played, and everybody's cleared out, and there'll be some people that stick around, and they see us take off the fake hair, which I recently stopped wearing the fake hair. And kind of just going more of like a short-haired Alex look, because he had short hair.
Right.
He was the only one that kind of had short hair sometimes in the later years. But we would pull our wigs off, our fake hair, and you could see people kind of disappointed, like, man, I thought they had real hair.
Well, now I got a serious music question.
Yeah.
And I'll give you my answer. I think we may have talked about this at the tailgate, but who has the better music? Van Hagar or Van Halen? And then I'll give you my take on it.
Man, it's tough because like if you're talking about live, like going to see them in concert, Sammy Hagar is a much better singer.
Yeah.
When it comes to just hell, he's a good
Guitar player, yeah.
He's overall just a better musician. But in the studio, they got what they needed out of Dave, and,
Right.
he sounds fantastic on the studio records. But I've always said I love the records of David Lee Roth, but maybe if I go see him live, I want Sammy Hagar singing them.
Let's see. I've always said this is that Van Halen was a better band with David Lee Roth. Okay, they were the party band.
Yes.
Okay, but they're better musicians and musically with Sammy because their songs they wrote songs with Sammy.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Okay, Panama. What the hell is Panama all about?
Yeah. Running with the devil. Super easy.
Yeah, but I mean, just the lyrically, their songs really didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But
Just FYI, I can play that
Yeah.
on Guitar Hero. But only on the easy setting.
Yeah.
If you go up to the medium, I'm out.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
But no, that's just always been my take on it. And I was a Sammy Hagar fan before before VOA. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, my brothers turned me on to Sammy back when he was in Montrose. Okay,
Nice.
and me and Teresa went and saw Sammy on his 4 Decades of Rock tour. Okay, and he played
You
music.
got Michael with him.
Nope, Michael.
Okay.
It was
Oh,
it was
okay.
the Wabos that were with
Yeah.
him, and he played played from the 70s. All his stuff, Van Halen stuff. But when he was doing the Montrose stuff, everybody was listening, but I was standing up and I was singing. And Teresa goes, "You realize you're the only one singing these songs?" And I'm like, well, "Duh." I mean, because that's how far back I went with Sammy. And then when VOA came out, and then the rumors of him hitting Van Halen, I was like, "Oh, if he joins back," because Van Halen's always been one of my favorite bands. Well, I'll just say, my wall has Iron Maiden and Van Halen pretty much. Is
There's Sammy and Mike. Right
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
You still watch them nowadays. They still play.
Yeah, well, see that we went and saw the Circle, and that's where and I started collecting set lists off the stage,
That's awesome.
and I told you Michael Anthony handed me their set
That
list.
set list there.
Yeah, right
That
there.
is
So
awesome.
Michael Anthony has
And they
touched that.
still sound damn good.
Oh yeah,
And Sammy's like 72. I
yeah,
think.
it's
I mean, he's still.
It's crazy, yeah.
Of course, he's not what he was when he was like 25 or
Right.
35. But dude, he's still damn good.
yeah.
Though, man.
He still gets after it. So
Yeah.
But look, people are sitting here, I know, going, nobody cares about Van Halen and stuff.
They
like
are on
that.
the edge of their seat, Terry.
They want to hear about Sooner football. So first off, let's jump on this. The quote rumors, and they were rumors again, that some of the guys had won their appeal. Not true. Hasn't happened.
Even if they did, they're still not playing.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, that may be true. You may be right.
Yeah.
They may have won but Lincoln Riley said without a doubt today the 3 in question are not playing.
Not playing.
Yeah.
So Stevenson, Bridges,
Ronnie
and Perkins
Perkins, yeah.
are out. So and then we get the lovely news last Friday that Turner Yell
Yeah.
broke his collarbone, which I'm saying get some tape it up, and hit with the other shoulder.
I know.
Well, also, Hilaire is apparently not nearly as bad, and he's going to play now.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they're saying he's going to
they're
play.
running back from LSU.
Yeah. I seen where he was getting on they had pictures,
Yeah,
And of course, all these LSU fans, man, they all of a sudden know a lot of football. They know all about the playoffs. All of a sudden, it is crazy. The SEC this and
Yeah.
that, and it's like, okay, you've been riding Alabama's
tell
coattail.
forever. and I heard somebody today on the radio say they're passionate fan base or a rabid fan base. They're just flat out nuts, most
Yeah,
of
the
them.
Timothy McVeigh pictures and all that. Like,
Yeah, but even when you just try to have a discussion with one of them, it's not that I don't cuss or anything else, but it's like every other word's an F-bomb, F you this, F you that, you got, I'm like, geez, when did we go?
back to middle school.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly
Yeah.
like fans in middle school when
Yeah.
they're talking. And some of them they're not all that way.
Right.
There's some of them that's been I've enjoyed talking with
Right.
some of them, But
There's some of them though. It's just like if your mama's standing next to you, she's gonna slap you.
Yeah.
But here's it. Turner Yell is the second, leading tackler on Oklahoma. So we're going to be missing out on 60 tackles, 15 assists, a total of 75 tackles.
Yeah, it's going to hurt.
5.5 for lost and 1 forced fumble. Who's behind him? We got Cradell, Woody Washington, more than likely Broyles, I'm guessing.
yeah.
And he's got a total of 11 tackles this season, 4 assists.
Well, and Bookie's out too, right?
Buki, they said he's probably going to play. He's going to be full up.
Okay.
So then, you throw Ronnie Perkins in the mix. I'm not going to have him. He's the 7th leading tackler on the team. And that's 28 tackles, 10 assists, total of 38, 13.5 for loss, and 6 sacks. and 6 quarterback hurries. That's going to hurt.
Yep.
That is going to hurt. Marcus Stripling comes in, more than likely going to be in there a lot. Not even near those type. And I don't know if it's not near those type of numbers because, Perkins is putting up those type of numbers and he just doesn't get the chance.
Yeah.
But it's going to hurt. I
Yeah.
mean, Oklahoma
Perkins.
is already in the mix of going to have to come in and play a really, really solid, good football game to get through this with a win, and it just put us behind the 8 ball
Even more.
more.
Well, our defense has been playing great, but I mean, it's hard for any defense to come back after that amount of losses
Right.
to their key personnel. So, I mean, it's probably safe to say that LSU's offense is going to take us apart a little bit, but
Yeah.
hopefully they can keep it, close enough where we can still win the football game.
Yeah, have a chance. I mean, but the key, it doesn't change the keys to the game, which is keep LSU's defense or offense on the sideline.
Right.
And losing Stevenson, I don't know that I'm serious. I don't think losing Stevenson hurts us that much.
It doesn't as much as Perkins does.
Not as much, but I don't think.
Man, it's such a good 1-2 punch. With,
Yeah.
With Sermon being out, I mean, what's 22?
Pledger or
Pledger, he's just not proven himself like Stevenson has.
Mm-hmm.
I think it hurts. Does it kill us? No. We can, because Brooks can carry the load.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's a horse. You can give him 25, 30 carries, he'll be fine. But it's always good to give him a breather, and Stevenson has proven that, he'll run that ball right straight up the middle, and, and he's good. So,
Well, it's Perkins' time to shine then,
Yeah, and Stevenson, the deal with him is he was the kind of guy that I could see coming in on a 3rd and 3 that it may only be the 4 yards that he gets, but it was huge.
Yeah.
It was a big 4 yards that we needed, or he gets 5 and we needed 3.
Yeah.
And it may be in the 3rd quarter.
Right.
And he definitely does hurt, but Perkins is the one. Perkins, man, he's not only a big time player, but we ain't even seen the best of him.
Right.
yeah.
That coach for Baylor, Matt Rule, he'll never forget number 7. And even after the game, did you hear the way he said? He's like, man, they were hurting us on the D line, and number 7 Perkins, he was killing us. He great player. And I wonder, does he know how old that kid is? You know what I mean? Because he's one of the young. But what about Kenneth Mann? Wasn't he kind of the guy that was playing? I mean, I guess Perkins is keeping him from being on the field.
Yeah, I think
much,
he's
I
hurt.
guess?
I think
Or is
he's
he
hurt. Yeah.
too?
Yeah,
I wonder
I think
if
he's
coming back.
I think he's hurt. I heard somebody talking about him that injuries have kind of kept him back this year.
Yeah.
So,
Because I keep feeling like maybe he could have a big day if he's healthy.
Right.
I haven't seen or heard much. And Lincoln keeps everything so close to the vest. It's hard to tell.
well,
who's,
like I said, today he didn't even say the 3 names. He never mentioned Perkins, Bridges, and Stevenson. Never once said their names. Said the 3 guys in question or the 3 guys you're talking about. Or
yeah,
I mean, at this point, I mean,
yeah.
you know.
But and you know what? I almost said knowing Lincoln like I do, like I know Lincoln, But maybe that's part of the punishment. I'm not even going to say your names
right.
in the press. I'm not going to give you the coverage for this, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
Because most coaches would say their names. Why isn't he saying it? Maybe it's because Lincoln's like, hey, I'm not going to. You're not a topic, so I'm not going to say your name during this.
Well, here's what I like about this. They all traveled.
Yeah.
So
If something happens,
if Stevenson, I think he's the only one in question right now that might not come back. I mean, it depends on how long but they all traveled, which means they all intend to continue to be with the team.
Right.
That's good.
Which is good.
That is good.
Right, and they're all getting to practice. I mean, it's not just the suspension has nothing to do with practicing; it has to do with playing in games. So they're all practicing. So they're still doing some part to help the team.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, we talked about it. I know you weren't with us when we had Steve on here, but there's not a whole lot of reason, and I know fans lash out, because we're fans, but you know what? These are kids.
They are.
And, we're going to critique games and stuff like that. And, as much as Caleb says, I hate Buki, I don't hate Buki, it's just, you have your favorite players and stuff, and I'm never going to tear one of them down. And just, now it's different. There are different things that happen, but the way that the fan base went after these 3 kids was just, when you don't know, don't say anything until the university says something, because at one point in time, one of the reports that people were saying it was 25 kids. Okay. There were 25 kids.
Lord.
And
we were going to have to go help them.
Right? Suit up, Terry.
No, it's 25, and then it went down, and I heard a former player said there's no way it's 25 because they won't test that many people.
Exactly.
It's only it's a random test. It's a known test that's going to happen. It's a random player choice. So they wouldn't choose 25 players.
So you think they were just like rolling the dice? I'm not going to get picked.
Hey, hopefully that's exactly what I said. They were out having a good time.
Well, how many kids are on the roster? 100?
Yeah.
Something like that.
How many kids were with them that didn't get tested?
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. How many did we get away with?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's just it. Another former player. I'm going to say, Teddy Lehman said on his show that if you think this is the first set of guys that tested positive, you just didn't know about it.
Exactly.
Right. He goes, it happens all the time. I mean, kids are kids. And especially now in Oklahoma where it's legal.
Gas stations, and some gas stations and stuff pick it up.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, but I mean, it's easily accessible, more accessible now than what it has been. And, people, Rob brought up the contact, high and
maybe they were just in the location.
Yeah. And my wife, Teresa, the lovely Teresa, who is a former drug and alcohol counselor, schooled Rob Thursday night on why that can't happen.
I don't believe it.
I can admit, man, when I played high school football, we got drug tested.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how I passed 1 year. I was in we were all partying, and I was everything but smoking it. I was drinking a little bit. Maybe I did smoke a little bit.
Yeah.
We had to get drug tested like 4 or 5 days later. And I was like, there's no way. and I still passed.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the whole contact thing, man, you'd have to have a good lawyer on that.
Yeah, and that's what Teresa was saying. She goes, "You're not going to test positive for being in a room full of people smoking weed. It's just the chances of that happening. I don't know the science behind it, but hey, she's got a master's degree, so she's a lot smarter than I am, and that's what she did for her whole adult life was drug and alcohol and drug tested people, because that's part of being a counselor. So if anybody knows it, she does.
You know what I thought about it? I thought, man, can't we just get these boys a few get them a card and make it where it's legal?
Yeah, just get all the kids, marijuana cards when they get. When you come to the University of Oklahoma.
It was for pain.
I got glaucoma.
What do you have? Oh, you have sadness. Oh,
Yeah.
you can't sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and you have pain. Okay.
Yeah, here you go. Everybody, every player, every athlete that comes in Oklahoma gets a CBD card and
Appetite control.
and then I thought, man, why didn't they test Jalen Hurts? He's squeaky clean.
Yeah.
He ain't felon.
They may have. We don't know who they test.
Yeah, he may have been the only one that passed. I love Jalen Hurts, but man, he is a boring interview for sure. He answers everything like it's a deal where it's a very the whole rap. It's like it's Nick Saban, young Nick Saban talking when you listen to his interviews. And but he's a great role model for my kids and everybody else's kids, and he's a hell of a football player too.
Well, and we just want him to smile, right, Rob?
Yeah,
smile. I mean, he's a kid, and this is a game. I want him to say, "Man, it was sweet when that guy was coming, and I stiff armed him right in the face."
Yeah,
I want to see a little bit of fire, but that's me.
I do. I hear you on that for sure, but I know. When it comes to him, how there were some fans that was saying, y'all were talking about it too, with the whole, I wish Spencer Rattler,
dumb.
what that would have been like. Anybody Now, the truth is, we don't have an answer for
Right.
what would have happened.
Right.
But if you think that a true freshman quarterback was going to come in here after not being here in the spring, it wasn't like he came early, and played in the red-white game. He would have had, maybe 4 weeks or 5 weeks or something, not even. And he would have came in with that rebuilt offensive line, replacing 80% of the offensive line, and he would have came in and just, I guess, we're 12-1. We would have been 13-0 with him.
Yeah.
And that kid would have we would have ruined that kid, man. Jalen Hurts had the experience and the tools to make it work while it gelled together. And now, I've always said it takes the offensive line about 15 to 20 games. Sometimes if they're really good and you got a coach like Bill Bedenbaugh, maybe it takes 10 games, But I've been saying, by the Texas game next year, that offensive line will be totally gelled together.
Well, I mean, Caleb brought it up too. Last year the best offensive line in the country last year played terrible through the Texas game. Mm-hmm. They weren't in sync, and that was the best unit in the country. Four of those guys went to the NFL.
Yeah, when they gelled up though, man.
When they gelled up after that game,
they were awesome.
And especially in an offense with the blocking schemes like what Oklahoma has. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of moving pieces in this offense. Not just not just in the backfield and at the receivers.
It's a well-oiled machine, for sure.
That these guys, these linemen, are pulling, guards and tackles and centers. I mean, there's been several shows I've watched this year. We've talked about it before where the offensive tackle is reading the middle linebacker on a pass, and if he takes the middle linebacker, he takes off running because Jalen is right behind him. Yes. He doesn't look back for Jalen to tell him to go.
They already know.
He knows that linebacker takes the cross. I go.
I've always said with Lincoln Riley, no doubt he's one of the most gifted play callers in the game.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But I think it's also overlooked what he does between Sunday and Friday with those kids.
Oh, yeah.
They may run the same play 30 times in a row. They have that mentality like, we're gonna call plays that we don't give a damn what you're doing. We're gonna call plays that we know that we can, no matter what you're doing, we're gonna have success. Right. We don't care how you line up.
Right. He makes the defense defend them. Instead of,
and he makes them wrong. A lot. Even when they're right, he makes you where you're wrong.
Well, it was Teddy Lehman that said you have to play a base defense against him,
right,
and try and react
yes,
as quickly as you can. And if you don't, you're
if you
sunk.
don't make plays, you're screwed.
I got to be honest with you, though. The last half of the season, teams have done a really good job in the base against us.
They have.
Well, but again, I think it's a different variation of Lincoln's offense. It's more calibrated to the quarterback run. It's more, which is the strength of this team. Mm-hmm. I know people don't like hearing that. The strength of this team is a quarterback that can carry the ball 20 times.
Yeah.
25 times. I don't care if he carries it 40 times the next 2 games.
If we win, yeah.
As long as we win.
Rob, there was a certain former University of Oklahoma player that I think we gave him the ball 40 times a game.
Would that be Billy Sims?
No, that would be me and Rob coached him.
Oh.
Sterling.
Sterling Shepard? Oh, okay, on y'all's team?
Yeah, 4th grade.
Oh, yeah. It's a Sterling. That was not a hard play call.
That's an easy call, yeah.
Fastest kid on the field and probably the strongest.
Yeah. And, that's where I'm at right now. I don't care if Jalen Hurts carries it 30 times, 40 times a game. If we win the game, I'm good. I'm
okay with it.
Do whatever we got to do the next 2 games.
And you know something? I got to be honest with you, and this is going to come across really bad.
Oh,
if we just beat LSU, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah. Well, with the injury and the suspensions and all that, it is looking more like me and him, man. We've made it very clear we felt good about this game. I haven't been just going out there and saying that over and over and over this week, but I've been trolling them LSU fans a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I've basically let them know that hey, it is our fault that Trey Brown made the play against Baylor in the Big 12 title that helped us win the game. It's it's our fault that we beat Baylor 2 times and came back from a 25-point deficit. It's our fault that we beat Oklahoma State on the road. It is our fault that we kept winning these games and the other teams kept losing.
Right.
That is our fault, and we deserve to be there. And if we win, awesome. If we don't, Tom Herman double bird. I mean,
So, Rob, finish your thought because I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, just with the national narrative out there that
Yeah.
we have no shot,
Yeah.
I just would like to, rub that in somebody's face
Yeah.
really
yeah.
badly.
I'm
Like
trolling.
Pollock and
Yeah.
some of those guys that are just
Joe
Oklahoma's got no
Pollock,
chance.
Yeah. And I like what Lincoln said. Well, we are going to go ahead
We
and
are
show up.
I love that. I love that.
We're going to kick it off, and you know what? The other end that you hope is, LSU has never been in this situation. This team has never been into it. They are a really good football team. I've never said LSU is not any good.
That's
okay, but they won every award there is basically in college football this year. Okay. They won the SEC, the greatest, conference in the world in the history
Alabama.
of football.
Yeah.
They won the SEC. They got all these awards, all these accolades, and that's a lot of pressure, and it's also a lot of head stuff. So on the other end of that, you got to hope that Oklahoma's should be coming in with the mentality of, you know what, y'all been talking smack about us. Country, we're here to prove something. LSU maybe walking into this game we're LSU. Look at what happened. We know that can happen. It's happened to Oklahoma. It happened to Oklahoma when we had the greatest offense in the history of football back when we played USC, and just got demolished because those kids came out there not ready to play.
Right. Thought you were going to say Boise State for a second.
No.
Well, that's what they act like we are. They act like we're Boise State or that we're Appalachian State.
Right.
It's like, damn it, we're a blue bud.
Yeah.
We're the
and
University
they're
of
not.
Oklahoma. Yeah, it's like we're still the University of Oklahoma. We are a blue blood. We're not Boise State or Appalachian State, and they're acting like that's what we are.
Well, that's the Big 12. That's
Right.
the narrative being shoved down their throat. In their defense, they're really dumb.
Yeah.
So,
What's funny is when they say the Big 12 is weak, and there was some of them that was saying that, and the Big 12 is weak, or what was it? The Big 12 can't stack up against the SEC. I said, well, you know what? The Big 12 hasn't stacked up against the University of Oklahoma neither.
Right.
What have we won? 13, I think, out of 19.
Yeah.
And our record, I had it somewhere, but our record against the Big 12, it is ridiculous.
It's like 73 and 23 something, or 73 and 16, something like
15 more wins than the next.
Second place is like way down.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy, dude. And,
we've all said this. I mean, the SEC has been 2 and 3 teams at a time, and like we said, who's the bottom tier of the SEC?
it would be Arkansas.
Arkansas,
Vanderbilt. I can never remember that Vanderbilt's in the SEC. Does anybody know where Vanderbilt's at? By the way,
they don't have to play each other.
No,
like ever. So
it's just it's a completely different conference. It's because and rightfully. I mean, hey, they've marketed themselves great. I mean, the SEC has, and the SEC schools have bought into it. I got news for you. If the University of Oklahoma starts, start chanting Big 12, Big 12, I won't do it.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. No.
Yeah.
You know what, though? If I was Kansas, I might. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you're LSU and Alabama's ruling the roost, you probably do.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
that's the only
because
that's the only way you're included.
I don't remember the first time I saw. Well, I think it was an SEC championship game. Their football championship game, and there were all those signs, and the whole crowd was chanting SEC, and I was like, why are they chanting their? I'd be chanting, Alabama,
Yes.
Alabama, but it was SEC, SEC, and I'm like, that's.
It makes me want to print if we beat LSU. It makes me want to print a T-shirt that says SEC Champions University of Oklahoma.
Yeah. Somebody will make that.
Yeah. It will. Yeah. It will. When it comes to the Big 12 standings, so Oklahoma at number 1 is 73 and 16.
Yeah.
So we're they're daddy of the whole deal, and then our little brother, which ironically I can't believe this, it's Oklahoma State is 58 and 31.
Yeah, they're second, aren't they?
They're second best, and then Kansas State is 52 and 37. Baylor's 52-37, and then Who are those guys that play down there in Austin?
They lost to Kansas
And Maryland.
and Maryland
Just
twice.
FYI.
Who are the? Oh, not important, but
Yeah.
whoever they are, they're 47 and 42.
Yeah.
And how many times have we heard that they got this great recruiting class and that they're?
Yeah,
So, it's like some of these guys that are 3-star guys, they get a 4 or 5-star
And-
just for going there.
and
Yeah.
the scary part is that happens. I mean,
It happens for us
yeah,
too.
yeah.
you
I
know?
mean, some kid commits to Oklahoma who's a 3-star, and all of a sudden he's a 4-star.
Yep, it happens.
Or he's a 3-star and commits to Oklahoma. Alabama shows an interest. LSU shows an interest.
And
Then he gets a star. Oh, well, these guys are interested. So the scoring, I like how it was back in our day. They were just a blue chip.
Yeah, blue chip. I do remember the end of that.
I still don't know what that means, but but I guess is it a gambling chip? I
And
don't
what was the other chip color?
Rich.
There was no. They were
so
just
you
a
were either
blue chip.
chip or you just
Or you
US.
were. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
He's a blue chip recruit. He's a blue chipper. There were other recruits, but he wasn't a blue chip.
Okay.
So I guess a blue chip was like a 4 and 5-star.
And that's what I would guess too.
Yeah. But I don't know what and does anybody know anything about gambling? How much maybe a blue chip is worth $1 million in gambling? Maybe that's where it came from.
Yeah,
But
you're one of the primos.
Yeah.
A couple of those in
Kind
my
of like
pocket.
we're a blue blood.
yeah,
We're-
because I'd have been a powder blue chip when I played, so I'd have been way down the food chain.
Yeah.
But I could fill a gap.
I'm like seafoam green or something.
Seafoam green. But so it's. Did you also see today that what was it? What's the name of the paper? The Lafayette Daily Advisor. Okay.
Sounds like a reputable magazine.
Reporter Glenn. I'm gonna just say it's Gilbo, Guil. I know the Beau is Bo.
Oh yeah, they've made that very clear to us.
Yeah, but I guess it's Gilbo. They put out a deal that's basically stating that Edwards-Helaire should just sit out the Oklahoma game, so he's completely 100% healthy for the national title game.
I just want to go, oops.
Wow.
Yeah, that he should sit out for the playoff game to save him for the national championship game.
Yeah, they're home. They got everything set up for them, and they
Yeah.
get to play this home game. For the national championship. All they got to do, basically, they're happy that they got the number 1 seed, so they get to play Oklahoma and get the guaranteed win. But what they don't know is I'm happy they got the number 1
I think
seed.
that's. I think
feel
Oklahoma.
really-
I think Oklahoma was happy they
Hell
got
yes,
that.
we were.
I think Lincoln Riley went. This gives me more time to prepare.
Yes.
We match up better with
We
these
ma-
guys.
we
We can
absolutely-
beat these guys.
I'm a realist. I'm a OU fan. They're tattooed on my arm, but I'm also a realist, and I don't feel real good about us the very first game playing Clemson
Right.
or Ohio State. And I know Clemson, they say that weak conference, just like LSU's supposed to win it all because they play in this greatest conference ever. But it didn't matter. They skull dragged Alabama. They skull dragged Notre Dame.
Right.
It didn't matter. And that is not the team. Like, I'm honestly, if someone said you have to bet your life on it, I would probably bet Clemson wins the whole thing. But when it comes to what's funny with them is the things I keep hearing on social media is, of course, they talk about you guys, we get the guaranteed win. Can't wait for we're just looking ahead to this national title. We can't wait to be. Some of them think Clemson's going to win. Some of them think Ohio State's going to win. But we can't wait to be in a trash talk group next week with Ohio State fans or Clemson fans. And the real truth is, we're glad that we're playing them, not Clemson or Ohio State. And I said, you guys don't have near the talent that Clemson and Ohio State have. But what's real funny with it, they also like to bring up the score of Alabama and OU last year in the playoff game. And said, look what you guys did last year. And they don't show the final score because, we came back and made it a pretty good game. They show the beginning of it when it
28-0.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. But here's what's hilarious about that. It's so funny. Of course, an LSU fan would do that because what I did was Googled LSU, Alabama last year. Okay, 29-0. Like, that's what you guys did with that same team.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? It's like, dude, you guys are the product of Alabama having an off year. That's what I told him.
Well, that's
Whoa.
good.
That's
I
what
love
told him.
that.
Like,
Yep.
you guys
That-
are the product
That may be the name of this podcast. LSU is the product of an Alabama off year. Ooh.
That's it.
Tua going down, right? You didn't play in that game, did you?
Hey, did y'all watch that one though between LSU and Alabama
Yeah,
this year? Did you? I've went back. I'm a nerd, dude. I've went back and I've watched, of course, LSU versus Ole Miss, and I guess I wanted to see that quarterback run all over them. Which, in their defense, it was like I think 28-0 by the time he started scoring on them. But there's some holes in that defense, no doubt about it. And the Alabama game, I felt like they handed LSU to the turnovers, which I know we do that too.
Yeah.
You know, and Caleb talks about his hand may have been injured
Right.
this whole time. And he wasn't doing that in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
He
No, he
wasn't
didn't.
having all. Nowadays, I hold my breath every time he takes off running. You know.
Yeah.
And it is, you know, remember Mike Gundy? He had us figured out. With
Yeah.
the whole,
With the wishbone.
with the wishbone. I'm thinking, brother, you think we're a one-man machine? You're
Yeah.
gonna, you're going to be sadly mistaken come Saturday, which they were.
Yeah.
But he when he brought that up though, he did kind of have a good point on how many times that guy has carried the football, and look at the wishbone days. Like you'd say, I want to say Billy Sims, our Heisman winner. If we would have had Twitter back then, he fumbled the ball I think 6 times against Nebraska.
Right.
Back now, of course, I wasn't born
Yeah.
during that game, you know, but I've watched it.
He
I've
was the
watched
reason.
it.
He's it was what's the name? Just went blank.
Billy Sims.
Yeah, but who was on the podcast that brought that up? Anyway, I can't remember which one of them that did bring it up, but because we had several people on. But basically, Billy Sims cost us a national championship.
Yeah.
We win that game. We play for the national championship, and he fumbled 6 times.
6 times
Against Nebraska, and we lost that game.
And then also our quarterbacks that we had back then. Jalen Hurts has carried the ball more than them. Not to mention he's thrown it,
a lot more,
several hundred times. And so when you have the ball in your hand that many times, I guess they're gonna happen.
Right.
But they
Right.
are so random, and they are at the worst time. And oh God, and what I sound like when that happens. My kids and my wife, they'll be, that's just Dad watching football.
Yeah, it's it's something that that's really the concern I have in this game is the turnovers.
Me too.
If we don't turn the ball over, it's a game. If
Yep.
we turn it over once, and we give them and they get points off of it, it's going to be hard to win that game.
I agree, and I know we're missing the 2 starters on defense, but I don't care if we have our B defense out there. If we don't turn over the ball, and I'm exaggerating, I'm being sarcastic on that, but the guys that we're going to put out there on defense, I feel good about it. It's still going to be the same scheme. We're
Right.
still going to get pressure on the quarterback. Our defensive line is still going to shift. It's going to confuse their offensive line. And also their offense, we know we've had that same offense, that number 1 offense with a breakable defense. We have watched this movie several times. We know
Too many times.
that whole offense runs off of timing and rhythm. And when you take 3 weeks off of football, your timing and your rhythm, I know you practice, but your timing and your rhythm, it seems like it takes a couple quarters before you get back to that, like we seen
Game
it with,
speed, yeah.
Yeah, game speed. And meanwhile, our defense is built to harass guys like Joe Burrow.
Right.
I still feel good about it.
I do
I'm
too.
not saying we're going to win the national title. I'm not saying we could beat Clemson or Ohio State. I feel really good about us against LSU if we don't turn over the ball. And I love the way when you watch the Georgia game, their defense has holes in it.
Yeah.
Jake from State Farm, how many wide receivers wide open that he missed, and then when he would hit them, they would drop passes all day long. You think that Lincoln Riley is going to do that?
Well, let's not forget Texas put up 568 yards on them.
Yes.
A ton of yards
Texas.
on it.
Our little baby brother.
Yeah. I'm still confident in the game. It's going to be tougher. I don't know why I'm this confident, I know.
Feel it.
Yeah, I know.
can feel it,
I
too.
know. Saturday, I'm going to be a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
all
I
day
always am, too.
Saturday. But for some reason, this game, I have this. It was, we get in these playoffs, and it's LSU that we get to play. We're going to win that game.
Yes.
I mean, I felt that before.
Yes.
You know, so it ain't going to change. And I'm still sticking with my score. I still think it's 38-28, right around in that range. You know, it may be even a little bit more, but even when, you know, I went through, which I don't pay much attention to. I don't bet on games, except like I said before. Only thing I bet on games is beer. I don't bet money. You know, I'll bet a 12-pack with anybody on anything. But looking at some of the betting and why the bets are going this way is because, you know, it should be a 14-point game, but you don't play the game on paper. If you look, and they said that it's going to shift back Oklahoma's way. Mm-hmm. Okay, the other bettors are going to start. What it is that your high dollar bettors are betting on LSU. They're your big money, and that's what causes that line to go up. But what Oklahoma has to do is what nobody else has been able to do or had the staff to do, is keep that offense off the field. Mm-hmm. And Oklahoma has an offense that has proven this year that they can keep. That's how they've improved their defense, is keeping their defense off the field.
Right.
And,
It's one way for sure.
Yeah. You know, they've played better, but when, you know what, when you come in and you only and you play 3 downs and then you're out for, you know, 7 minutes, you can come back in and give 110% again.
It also gets back to that rhythm and timing we're talking about. How can you stay in a rhythm when we've seen Army do it to us.
Right.
You know, hell, even Kansas State did it to us for some of that game.
Yeah. But you know, it's, you know, it's going to shock a lot of people. It's not going to shock me, and I don't like to call it the shock of the century. If Oklahoma wins, it'll be the shock of the century. No, it's not. It's Oklahoma.
That's
when Oklahoma
right.
beats anybody, it's not a shock.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when it comes to the whole we don't win big games, Sooner haters only call it a big game if we lose it.
Right.
I mean, it was big games when we won 20 of them in November of the last 5 years. It was a big game.
Right.
Every time we had to win our 5th Big 12 title in a year.
Right.
And I know some of them were like de facto Big 12 championship games, but they were still big games.
Right.
We won a lot of big games against Texas. Also, you know how you have some fans that say, "Oh man, I would rather us just go, you know, win the Big 12 title and we'll go play Georgia." You know,
No,
you know why I say I don't? I would rather us go to the playoffs, even if we're playing Clemson in the first round, because we've done that. We beat Auburn in one of those big boy bowls. We beat Alabama in one of those big boy bowls. Nobody talks about it.
Right.
It's never talked about.
Right.
That's because they didn't care and they didn't want to play there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and other than that, I mean, you always want to be in that playoff. You want that's a recruiting tool. You know, those fans who said, you know, there were a lot of them that was like, I don't want to go to the playoffs. We're just going to get beat again. No, you want your name to be in there because that's a recruiting tool. That is, you know, the last 3 straight years now we've been into the playoffs, and 4 out of the last 5 we've been in. Okay, and you know, after this weekend, you know, we're going to be 1-4. I hope we're 1-3. Yeah, 1-3.
Yeah, 1-3.
I'm not good at the math, Rob.
I'd still take 1-4, Terry.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
We just need to get that first win.
Yeah, but it's you know, I you know, put a deal on one of the, you know, LSU fans. They were you know getting ready to go, you know, 0-4, you know, in your playoffs, and I went, well, what's your playoff record? Oh wait,
That's what I told them. I said,
You haven't
how many
been there?
They said, how many playoffs games have you won? I said, the same amount you guys have won.
Right. You know, we've been there. You haven't. You know, and you haven't been there. You know, in the old Bob Stoops saying, in a big way. It's not because you were close to it.
Yeah.
You know, you haven't been there, and you can sit here and say, you know, hey, we've lost 3. Yeah, but we've been to 3.
But we've been there, and you guys ain't been there.
Yeah.
The other one I really loved was the I've enjoyed these LSU fans. I really have.
Yeah.
The other one that I really liked was they said, where would you guys be without an SEC quarterback? I said, for one, have you ever heard of a guy named Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield? Number two, the real question is, where would you guys be without a Big Ten quarterback? 9-3, your normal 9-3.
Yeah. Well, where would we, or would have been a good one? Where would we have been if without an SC quarterback would have been winning the Heisman Trophy? Again.
Exactly. Yeah,
You gave us
that's what we've done.
Yeah, you gave us an SEC quarterback, and we can't win the Heisman Trophy.
Which
with an
Kyler kind of, he was A&M,
Yeah.
which, dude, they've played more in the Big 12 than they have in the SEC if you add up all their seasons,
Right.
You know something else that it makes you feel a little better as an OU fan? And this is just being real, but if you told me at the beginning of a year, at the beginning of the season, that a team, and I don't give a shit who at New England Patriots, Clemson, Ohio, whoever, Alabama, if you told me, well, it wouldn't be Alabama, but if you told me that this team would have to beat, any team has to play Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida, Auburn, and even Texas A&M was supposed to be pretty good at the beginning of the year. If you told me somebody had to play every one of those, and they could win every one of those games, even Clemson, or Alabama or Ohio State, how hard is it to beat Clemson or beat Alabama?
Right.
Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas. They've had to play Texas and now Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia. They were the two best teams in the SEC last year. That's tough to win all those, man. A great team may go 5-2 or maybe 6-1, but to go 7-0 against all 7 of those teams, that's tough.
That's tough.
They're due for they're also, like, the law average kicks in, right? You know what I mean?
Well,
at some point you're going to lose one of them, and I think we're the boys that's going to do it.
And the other thing is people were, I heard today, and it just popped in my head that LSU is peaking at the right time. Look what they did to Georgia, and I'm like, wait a minute. What if they peaked with Georgia? What if that's it? What if
that's right.
Hey, they laid it all out there. We won the SEC finally. Yep. And now they're the SEC champions. They come walking into this game.
We looked real good in 08 and 04 too.
Yeah,
sure did.
Our quarterback looked unstoppable also,
Yeah, but there's so many, that's the deal. There's so many intangibles to this game that's coming up that, what's their mindset? What's Oklahoma's mindset? I really liked Lincoln Riley's demeanor today. He was all business. Didn't really address anything with the suspensions and this. Plus, he was sporting a cool jacket. Did you see
that?
It?
Matters. That does matter.
He was wearing a I don't know, kind of a checkered striped red and cream suit, or sport jacket. And then the Sooners were all out in jet black Jordan jumpsuits, playoff jumpsuits.
That's awesome.
So, but no, he was happening in I'm going to say it was something that you would see Barry Switzer wear back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A sport coat like that. It wasn't a solid color.
Yeah.
It was happening. So
yeah, I did see that. It was red and white.
Yeah, red and white, kind of red, white, and cream. It was a.
It did kind of look like something maybe you could see Switzer wearing. Yeah.
So it was definitely better looking than the Billy Sins barbecue.
Whoa, is it bad? Come on, Billy.
I mean, free advertising.
Free advertising.
It'd be like me going somewhere and I got Next Halen logos all over my shirt. It looks tacky, but hey, everybody.
Hey, he's Billy Sims.
Yeah.
No, what's funny about that is people poke fun at it and everything, but nobody told him to take it off. Not even the Heisman committee.
Well, they let him wear it.
Listen, I don't think anybody tells Billy to do anything.
And that's right.
I don't.
Billy does what Billy wants to do.
I think that's right. It's like that one Heisman House commercial where Bo walks in, from the baseball, and they're giving Kyler a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Good game, Bo.
Nobody
tells Bo anything. I don't think
Yes.
anybody tells Billy anything.
Yes.
Yeah, just.
And he hollers every year, "Boom!"
Yeah.
And if they ain't told him to shut up about that, they're probably not going to tell him no about nothing.
Yeah. I was really, I was looking forward to seeing if he was going to sport another OU jacket. I was not expecting the Billy Sims barbecue
No, I
jacket.
dig that one. The one he wore.
Yeah.
Was it last year or
Yeah.
when Baker won it?
No, last year.
Was
It
it
was
last
one.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig that one.
Yeah.
I would totally rock that one, and I want one like
Yeah.
that, man.
Well, that's there was
They had them at Walmart, didn't they, for a little bit?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we were at Rudy's. There was an older gentleman there, and he was wearing a pair of OU golf shorts. Remember those shorts? And they were white, and they had OU logos all over them, little small OU logos. And Rob like slaps me on the arm, and was like, "Look at those shorts. I would wear those, wouldn't you?" And I'm like, "Yes." But I haven't been able to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, do you have any predictions for the game? What is your score prediction? Do you want to go on that? Because I've already thrown mine out there. I'm sticking to it. 38-28 Oklahoma Sooners win the
I
game.
like yours a lot because I honestly, my first thought, I thought, man, if we don't turn over the ball, and I could see it being one of those 34-24 games. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Yours is what,
38-28.
Yeah, 38-28. I was thinking of 34-24. Maybe they kick a field goal late and make it like 34-27 or something, or maybe they even maybe make it 31-34 and they score one late or something. But I feel like they're going to come out there and they're like, oh God, this ain't Boise State. This is the University of Oklahoma.
These guys came to play.
Yeah, this ain't Appalachian State. Even with Perkins out, we've got depth. We've got probably think about in the beginning of the year when we were playing like 24 guys on defense.
Yeah.
Lincoln said this is going to pay off big down the road.
Right.
That right now is that time that it's going to pay off big. We played like 24 guys, and then what we did was we went with the best like 14, 15 of them as the season went along. But those other guys still played. And we got some dudes, I guarantee you. And Pollock with his whole. I thought I liked him. I really did.
I did too until that.
Yeah, me. We were really. I really liked that guy, and man, he ruined it.
Yeah. And it would have run not just if he'd have said that about anybody who made the playoff. Honestly, if it had been anything, that was just disrespectful
transfer
for the
portal. Is it over?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the only way
basically
they can
you're
be.
saying we ain't got nothing. Okay. Okay.
Now, Rob, you picked a score, haven't you?
I did, but I have since changed my mind. I think we're gonna have to outscore them now. It's hard to lose Turner Yell and Perkins and guys like that, and still think that we're going to hold that offense down. So I think that we're going to have to. It's going to be like a 46-43 game now. Hopefully
it could be.
If we score 46, we're going to win.
Yeah.
But
We need to score
stop 'em?
47. Do you know why we need to score 47?
No.
Oklahoma has never lost a game that they've scored 47 on.
Nice.
Since 2000, it was Tanner Brodus put out the deal. Oklahoma, since 2000, is 15-0 when scoring 47
That's the
points or
number.
more.
We're going to score 47. That's the number. I do agree with what you're saying. It could be, but man, that defense could come out there and surprise us, man. And like, I'm not going to be shocked if we win. I'd be a little bit surprised that I have a feeling that defense is going to show up and show out. Hopefully it's enough with Perkins and Turner Yell out, but I could see it being a deal where Joe Burrow's back there and boom, he gets nailed a few times.
11 sacks.
Yeah, I mean, we need
I'd
that,
be
and
okay
it's gonna take something like that.
Yeah.
We will. We're gonna need, and I feel like if we're not getting 10, 11 sacks, they're gonna bust off some big plays here and there. But also, their defense has holes in it. I know, and that has nothing to do with our defense missing players. Their defense has holes in it. That I was watching that Georgia game, and I'm rooting for LSU at this time because we're kind of needing them to win that game, right? And as I'm watching that, I'm like, ooh, thank God Jake from State Farm just missed him. Thank God. But you know what? We're not going to miss him.
Yeah.
He was missing wide open receivers, and that
Definitely was.
Yeah.
That sticks in my head when I think about, like, they do have the offense, no doubt about it. And that Joe Burrow is good. And that's even me. I'm a Sooner fan. I've watched Jason White. I've watched Sam Bradford, Baker, Kyler. Even Jalen put up 51 touchdowns, and he's the one He's the one that ain't, he's the one we don't talk about, but I've seen great quarterbacks at OU, and that guy he was good. Like he's for real. But I've seen our guys that are good go out there when a team has 3 weeks to prepare for you, and I've seen them look like a totally different dude. And I think that could happen. I'm hoping it's happening. I'm a homer also. I'm going to figure out a way we can win every year. But last year, I was like, okay, so we're going to need 8 turnovers. We're going to need an onside kick. We got this,
Food
like
poisoning.
Yes, we're going to need. Like I knew that it was going to. Like we might beat them 1 out of 10 times, and we got to hope that's that one time. That's how I felt about last year.
Hey, it worked for the Avengers.
That's right. That's right. And it was, but the year we had Baker, that the defense they wasn't that bad. That year was the year we missed our window.
Yeah,
that was the year.
That was it.
But with my score prediction, man, the college football nerds, they have this little calculator. It tells you who's going to win. Now, my theory with that is when you're calculating this, does it calculate? Because you got to figure we are going to be a little underrated on things because we had the close games that was freight turnovers.
Right.
Okay, so it made us look like we're not as dominant as we actually are. So we are going to automatically be a little underrated. Like we dominated Texas. I think we outgained them by over 200 yards, right? And then with Iowa State, I think it was, we outgained them by like 300 yards, or was it TCU?
Either or, I mean,
both of them, probably, right?
Yeah.
We dominated them. When you looked at the box score, you would see the yardage, and it's like, dude, we dominated them. But the turnovers was the equalizer, and a lot of them. And it's the same way with Kansas State. But so my theory is that we're a little underrated. But even with that being said, that little computer that deal they have that calculates who's going to win, I think it picked LSU to win 42 to like 35 or 34. So that's close. That's a close game.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, and there was even some LSU fans on there said, dude, this computer has been dead on with all the LSU games this year, and they said that scares me. I don't like it that computer thinks it's that close. So I'm with the computer picking 42 to 35. You're picking 38 to 28. Man, and then he makes a good point with that, So what do? We beat them about like Bama did, 46-41. That's what we hope for.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping for 63-12.
That's right. 63-14. 63-14 is what I'm hoping for.
No, like I said, I just want to win the game. That's all I want to do. I don't care if it's 2-0.
Well, I remember going into the 2000 Orange Bowl. I remember thinking, if we just play a good game and put up a good fight, I'll be happy with this. And we wound up going there and kicking that booty 13-2, and so that was phenomenal.
Right.
So, I'm happy if we go in there and we play a good game, but I want to win.
Yeah, I want to win.
I want to see Kenneth Murray get into Joe Burrow's head at the coin toss and say, "I'm taking it. Hurts. It hurts. I'm getting my boy's trophy back." I want to see him do what Torrance Marshall did. I went back and watched that game. And did you see the look in Chris Winky's face?
He was scared.
He was scared.
He was
beat at the coin toss, dude. He got in his head, man.
With all due respect to K9, K9 is no Torrance Marshall. Torrance Marshall was crazy.
He was okay. I know. He was crazy.
Well, I don't know.
I
kind of like.
No, you look at Torrance. Remember Torrance?
No, yes, he was crazy.
You know that about the league too.
I'm just saying as a player. I'm not so sure. Kenneth
but
Murray's
I'm talking about playing. I'm talking about looking across from you. Torrance Marshall. I'm sure Winky thought, okay, when this game's over, he's coming to my room.
Yeah, he's going to kill me.
Or, hey, could you guys pat him down right here, right now?
Yes, yeah,
he might have
straight up.
Because, remember Rocky Kalma said, Torrance Marshall's first day on the field, he walked out and stood in Rocky's spot, said, whoever's here, this is my place now, move on, and they got into a fist fight.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the mindset.
And that mentality wore off on that whole damn defense, man.
But Torrance Marshall was that boy looked like
and he's scared, dude. I'm telling you, some doubt creeped in with Chris Winky at that coin toss, dude. Yeah. And I man, I don't care if it's Neville Gallimore, but one of them needs to do that.
Yeah.
And I know Grinch, he likes showing his team. They watch games.
Right.
They'll watch, like, for example, they watched the, I think it was the Atlanta Falcons and Patriots. Which one did the Patriots come back and win? Was it against Atlanta? It was Atlanta one.
Yeah, it was the Atlanta one.
They came back from like 20. It may have been 28-3, exactly like ours. We played Baylor that next, like after they watched that game, and we came back 28 from the 28-3. So in this game here, we got the whole JH thing going with the finish, and and then their starting quarterback is the winner, and we're playing the winner just like that year. We played the winner, and then our JH finishes second. And then you got K9, who I know personality-wise does not remind me of Torrance Marshall at all. One of them is the kind of guy that I bet he scared him as soon as he walked up there. And ironically, he said, "It hurts. I'm getting my boys' trophy back." But I think that if we can go out there and get in his head like that, and that defense is mean, because that's what won us that championship in 2000. That defense showed up and showed out. And this defense, maybe we don't do it this year, but, dude, I'm so excited to see what this defense does over the next 2 or 3 years if we can keep Alex Grinch.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
So tell us about New Year's with next Halen, because we're going to be there. Tell everybody where it's going to be.
What we're doing New Year's is we're going to Oklahoma City Limits. There's going to be we've got a Leonard Skinner tribute band, and then, of course, the Van Halen tribute band. We've got a band from Arkansas, which they do a little bit of everything. Some Jimi Hendrix.
I was going to say, did they play the little jug thing?
Yeah, and Little Skinner. I know some people are going to be disappointed. They are not little. They're normal sized people.
It's not like Little Kiss.
It's not like Little Kiss. They're actually normal sized people, but they look and sound like Skinner. That's pretty cool. They're from Texas. They're one of like the best Leonard Skinner tribute bands from Texas. But they're coming down, and what we're doing is we're going to be celebrating the Peach Bowl win on New Year's Eve, right?
Getting ready for the national championship game.
For the national championship game, and it'll be New Year's Eve, OKC City Limits, and it's off of Eastern, like in between 44th and what I call Titty City and Valley Brook. But it's going to be a blast. It's going to be the place to be New Year's Eve.
We're looking forward to it. We've been, since you guys shot us the invite, we've been like, ooh, guess where we're going to be.
That's going to be awesome.
Actually, Teresa has to have a MRI done. She goes on the 31st that morning at 8 o'clock. No, at 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
But it's in 8, and she goes, that's. I was like, we'll be back. we're coming back. We're going to be up there. She's like, oh well, okay. I just thought, no. They say, well, we got to do something. I'm a guy who the day she got discharged, one of the days she got discharged from the hospital when she had a summer full of problems. Health problems that she was getting discharged. Caleb had to pick her up because I was going to see Iron Maiden that night. So I had tickets to see Iron Maiden. She knew it. And she was like, "What are you going to do about the concert?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What am I going to do about the concert?"
I'm going to sit right.
I'm going to get someone to fill in for me. Caleb pick your mom up from the hospital.
that was basically it. So, but hey, Johnny, we appreciate you being on with us. We hope everybody enjoyed it. You're welcome back at any time, and we're looking forward to New Year's Eve. What time do the doors open? Do you know? Or
the doors will be open 7 o'clock. I mean, it's kind of a place that. It's also a cool place to watch OU football games, too. They stay open. Like, it'll open at 11. We'll be in there setting up the whole show. There won't hardly be nobody in there, but you can get there at 7. You can get there at 6, get there at 8. We'll probably have the first band start around about 9 o'clock. And it's one of them places, if you don't get there kind of early, you may not have a seat,
Gotcha.
And so I'd recommend getting there early. And the first band, I think they'll start around 9, and then the Leonard Skinner guys are going to go on around 10, maybe 10:15, and then next Halen will go on. Probably we'll play. I'd say we go on around 11:30, and then we'll probably play a couple songs, and then it'll be time to drop the ball. And then so we'll have a few songs before the ball drop, and then finish out the set and party our asses off, celebrate Peach Bowl victory for the rest of it.
Sounds like a plan. So. If you want to hang out with us and Next Halen on New Year's, get out to City Limits.
If you want to party and have the time of your life and have one of the greatest New Year's Eve parties you ever had, come with us. If you're not interested in any of that, you don't have to come with us.
Stay home and kick back and watch.
Be safe.
What's his name? It used to be Dick Clark. Now it's Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest, yeah.
New Year's.
Because you never get to
Rocket
see him on TV.
Yeah.
He's not on everything.
Those shows are boring now.
Yeah, I know.
Watch that stuff, so.
But anyway, that's the podcast, guys. We appreciate it. Make sure and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Boomer up.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Johnny.
Boomer.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Mixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at SoonerFBFans and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.